Good morning, y'all. Is that a chip on my shoulder? It's not. I knocked that thing off years ago. Haha, get it? Hi, guys, this is Zoe. I have some music playing in the back. I've been meditating. I wanted to write down some of my downloads from my meditation, my realizations, but I realized they were going to take so long to write, so I'm making this video. And I may or may not share this. We're not sure yet. So what happened was I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and he said, my goal is to serve others. And in the moment, I had a bit of a realization. So I asked him the question. I said, is that a goal or an intention? And I think in my life, and I don't know if this happens in your life, but I think we may get our intentions and our goals mixed up. An intention, I feel like, is a motivation. It can be an emotion, it can be a thought or a download, an idea. It can be a spiritual calling. An intention is, a general, represented by a general statement. I think that's how you identify an intention. I would like to serve others. That is an intention. The goal, to me, would be what comes later. After the intention is set, the goal would sound something like, my intention is to serve others by this day in this way. So by Saturday, I would like to, have given 3 meals to homeless people, by 1 p.m. That's a goal. That's a clear, measurable statement that you either accomplish or you don't. I feel like an intention is almost like a creative, nebulous energy, like a not defined energy, and that would be defined by like a divine female, feminine energy. And that's where inspiration and creativity and ideas and brainstorming and things kind of come from, which is funny if you think of brainstorm. Storms are made of clouds, and ideas come from clouds. And when people have their head in the clouds, it means that they're a dreamer. And that's not a bad thing. That's where I feel like creation actually begins. That's where Genesis begins. And then the goal is very linear and measurable, and if it's something you can attain or fall short of, and if that is the case, you can then adjust your sails, so to speak, or your plans or your approach the next time. That's why I feel goals are important. Now, we live in a very goal-driven society, and we are very good at manifesting in this Western society. And I feel like we are, because we are very in touch with the bridge between intention and attaining a goal. The bridge between those two is action. Is actually taking the motivation, idea, inspiration, feeling, calling, whatever you want to call it, and putting it into action. And it's a bridge between here and there. So I can tell you from personal experience that, in my 20s, growing up into my 20s, until I turned about 30 years old, I couldn't really figure this equation out. I had a lot of great ideas and good intentions, but I didn't always manage them. And sometimes I didn't have good intentions. Like sometimes I had ego-driven intentions, or I was upset and I was trying to act on and create from that space. So I realized not to do that, or else I would basically create messes or monsters and abominations, things I'd have to clean up later. So I wasn't managing my energy, my intention. And then my actions, sometimes I was taking action, sometimes I wasn't. I wasn't being consistent, or I was putting in too much effort and trying too hard, or I wasn't putting in enough effort, or my timing was off. I was putting in the wrong amount of effort at the wrong time. So I wasn't managing my energy, and I wasn't managing my actions. So I was either not attaining my goal, my creation. I was either not getting what I wanted, or it wasn't turning out the way I had expected it to or wanted it to. Or I was creating things I didn't want. So taking a very simple equation, energy times action equals creation, and practicing that mentally daily and emotionally daily, and in my physical regimen daily, and observing when my creations did come into manifestation, kind of tracing back the way that it worked, like all the components that went into it. I basically could scientifically, very logically create from that space through practice. It's almost like a living meditation. When we're observing the energy, our actions, and our creations, the nature of each and every one, when we start to understand what the frequencies of those vibrations are, we can almost reach out and touch each component like a physical object and interact with it. And it's something that is very simple. E times A equals C. It's not necessarily easy. It does take a fair amount of observation and honesty with yourself, being honest with yourself. It takes a certain level of vulnerability. You have to be very open-minded. You almost have to be like a CSI Miami forensic scientist sometime to really be able to pick apart what happened, how and when and in what sequence, which meditation is really good for, by the way. And journaling helps a ton. It becomes a way of life. And it's interesting because it's almost like breathing. Breathing can be done voluntarily or involuntarily. And this equation can be engaged from a conscious state of mind or an unconscious state of mind. And one way or another, I believe that it's always in effect. As creators, we've inherited, pretty awesome power from our creator, which is the ability to create. And a wise man once told me, we create whether we're awake or asleep. And he was talking about whether I'm walking around, drinking my morning tea, or whether I'm in bed passed out. But I also interpreted that as whether we're conscious, like consciously awake, or unconscious, basically asleep at the wheel. We all have that ability to create. I guess the question is, what are we creating? What are our intentions? What are our goals? And what are our actions that we're taking to make those things happen? I can't help but feel this has something to do with the new year. The new year's coming up. And, everybody is about change and evolution and resolution and moving forward. So with that, I challenge you to take out a piece of paper, write down this equation, E times A equals C, energy times action equals creation. And underneath that, I want you to write all the things that you associate with the word energy. We discussed a few. Thoughts are energy, spirit is energy, emotion is energy. Physical energy, right? To eat food and go, to turn calories into fuel in our body. That's electrical energy. There's thermal energy in the body. These are all the things that fuel the action, that make the action possible. So write down some things that you think are energy, and if you associate emotions with energy, write down some of those emotions or all of them. And then underneath the action part, write down all the things that you believe are actions. A couple examples are walking, talking, Facebooking, texting, showing affection or not showing affection, going after your dreams and goals, not going after your dreams and goals. There's all different ranges of magnitude of action, from extreme hyperaction to like being inactive completely, or even stagnant. And there's a huge frequency, a range of those energies as well. And then write down some of your creations that you've created. Write down some things, a few examples of things humans have created, and write down some things that are, I'd say, 5 things that you feel are positive creations, and 5 things are maybe negative creations that you would like to change, and how you are going to go about making those changes. And I challenge you to set an intention to make the change, but then also to set a very clear goal of when that change will be coming into fruition, like when you will manifest that change, or the day that you are going to act on that change, if you will, and the way that looks to you. How does it look? When are you going to do it? And in which way are you essentially going to take on your life path journey to rectify some of these things? And my final challenge would be to only choose love. I get, of course, when we're dealing with challenges, we're going to deal with frustration or feeling stuck or feeling scared. That's 100% natural. And in rare cases, it's healthy because it's a catalyst for change. Now, take note that you do not pack up and live there. Don't set up your tent in that space. If you need a little bit of time to be with that energy, then so be it. But only with the intention that you're allowing yourself to feel it, and you're going to outflow it out of your body, and you're going to replace that with the courage you need to overcome it, or the patience, or the dedication, the compassion, the love, whatever it's going to take. The positive thing is going to get you over that hurdle, because negative emotions and circumstances, things that we deem unhealthy, let's put it that way, taking judgment out of it, things that affect our health in a negative way, can be viewed as hurdles or walls. And you can't use negative energy to get over anything. Negative energy digs a hole. Positive energy gets you over it. So if you run into a fear, a block, you call it a failure, or anything that challenges you, knocks you off your balance, you could almost say that is like a wall, and you can go through it like a bull. You can rise above it, but you can't go under it. You can't use negative energy to overcome those types of challenges. And I'll tell you that some people will argue that, anger or fear, manipulation, and avoidance does help them get over those certain situations. And I'm here to say, no, if anything, you're just creating more that have to be handled later, because that's karma. It's a law of physics. It's not a philosophy or a judgment or condemning certain behaviors. It's just physics. So, some of the things I've created in my life in the last 6 years, I wrote a book that got published in 2012. I started the Shift Before You Create program, where I got to introduce a nonviolence program and a self-healing tool to some public schools here in Utah. I created Soulworks decals, Vibe Bottle with my partner, Brinley. The Teach Peace Tour, I had the distinct honor and pleasure of being able to travel the U.S. for the last 18 months and sharing my message with the world about meditation and sacred geometry and basically that love is the answer to all things, and the message I just shared today, that energy times action equals creation. I'm a Reiki healer at level 3, and I'll be level 4 soon, and I'll be able to do attunements. I've volunteered in different community-based projects. I've worked at a drug rehab center as a coach and a mentor. And I have done some coaching and some classes and some training. So, and I'm not like some guy that came out of college. I'm not a doctor. I was an addict before all this happened. And I had a spiritual awakening, and I spent a lot of time, almost a year and a half, learning to forgive myself, and another year gathering up the courage to share my message and my story with the world. And I'll tell you right now, it's scary every day, but I don't let that stop me, and I don't live there. I simply look at it like a wall or a hurdle, and I jump as high and as far as I can over it. And so far it seems to be working out pretty well. I manage my intentions, my energy. I manage my actions and keep them consistent. And I don't push too hard. And I appreciate my creations. And I also take them in stride, knowing that they are a step in the evolution to the next level or place or checkpoint in my journey, if you will. So I do my best to be humble along the way and look at the positive things in my life as not only blessings, but as from like almost a scientific point of view, just as results. We all have results, and some of them we can live with, and some of them we struggle to. So when you manage your intentions, your actions, and your creations, you will create results you don't have to live with. You will create results, saying that you don't just have to live with. You will create results that you will celebrate and enjoy and be happy with, and will inspire others just by living by that one simple rule. And you'll discover things about yourself, and you'll discover things about the world. And one thing that I would also share with you is, if you do start to live by this, remember that your energy, your actions, and your creations are your own, and other people's energy and other people's actions and other people's creations are their own. And it's not our job to manage their energy, their actions, or their creations. And it's not our job to alter those or judge those. It's our job to manage ourselves. It's their job to manage themselves. And how we respond to other people's energy, actions, and creations are our business, and how they respond to our energy, actions, and creations is their business. In other words, karma, and in other words, life journeys. That my life journey might look completely different than your life journey, and somebody else's life journey might look completely different than your life journey. And that's okay. Those are all perfect journeys and great things. And the reason why I say this is it's designed, that statement is designed to relieve you of the stress that comes with enlightenment. So oftentimes when we discover something new and we practice something and we realize that it's amazing, we often want to share it with the world, which is cool, right? We deliver the message. Where we tend to get caught up, or where things might go south, is where we judge other people for not knowing or not practicing it, or for their energy and actions and creations, if theirs look different than ours. That's where humans tend to take something beautiful and can take it in a different direction than it was, than the philosophy or the tool was created for. So, again, managing my own energy, my own actions, and my own creations is my full-time job. My enlightenment, my own, and that's it, is my full-time job. And yours is yours, and theirs is theirs. So let's agree on that. The question somebody might bring up is, well, if that's the case, Zoe, why did you go on the Teach Peace tour? And the answer to that is very simple, that my intention was never to alter anyone else's life. It was never to save the world. It was never to change anything. My intention was only to deliver my message that I was given, I was told by Spirit and by Archangel Metatron. I was directed very clearly. I was given a message and I was directed to share it. That was it. And any time that I got outside of that, when I was feeling maybe like I was pushing my message too hard, I had to come back to center and say, just deliver the message. It's kind of like when you give money to, say, a homeless person, and then you're worried about what they're going to do with that money. That's none of your business. Your intention is to give, and that's all that matters. My intention was to deliver, and that's all that matters. And in some places, when I delivered a message, it changed people's lives, and that is their energy, their action, their creation. In others, it fell on deaf ears. That's their energy, their action, their creation. By not taking ownership of those things, I relieve myself of the frustration or the pain that I might feel from having an attachment of it looking a certain way. So by being, in a healthy way, detached from the outcome and just understanding that my job is to manage me, and my job is just to do my job. My job is to be a messenger, and that's it. What someone does with that message is entirely up to them, and I honor them on whichever path they take from here. And I've found 9 times out of 10, attachment actually sours the message. It sours the original intention. And people, I've found, when you're unattached, people tend to take this type of information and they just take off like a rocket, and they do things that you or I didn't even think were possible. They can take things like this and go like to the next level, the next dimension, whatever you want to call it, and create beautiful, magical things, as long as they have the formula. As long as they have something simple and understandable that works, that they can practice at over and over and over again. Like Kevin Trudeau says in his story, he says, he goes to a Zen master who's like a Buddhist Shaolin monk, and he starts showing off all his different moves, and his Zen master stands up and he says, watch this, and he makes a short punch, and he makes an open fist, and he does this short motion, and from like 3 feet away he blows out a candle, and he says, it's not the 10,000 moves I'm worried about. He's like, it's your one punch that you practice 10,000 times. He's like, I'm worried about that one. He's like, I don't want to catch that punch. So is it important to have different tools? Yes. However, if you can find a single unifying formula that works and it applies to every part of your life, and not just, personal, interpersonal, but external, into your relationships, into your business, into your love life. If you can find that one thing, and I call this the law of creation, by the way, because there's the law of attraction, but I've never seen the law of creation. I know some people have talked about one, but I've never seen an equation for the law of creation. So for now, let's coin this E times A equals C. Let's say it's the law of creation. So if you can consciously hold and understand and practice the law of creation from a space of love each and every day, I'm going to go as far as guarantee you're going to see miracles. Yeah, that's right, folks. I just said it. My life is an absolute result of it. I did not grow up in privilege. I did not grow up with higher education. I mean, I went to graphic design school, but I didn't go to like Ivy League Harvard. I didn't go to become a doctor. I was basically I used to be a snowboarder and a DJ and an addict, a drug addict, alcoholic, who was pretty much on the path to either die or kill himself. And now I'm a spiritual teacher. Like, if that isn't a miracle, and which came from love, it didn't come from frustration or anger. It came from love. And if that isn't a miracle, and if I haven't seen 1,000 more in between then and now, like, I'd be lying. Like, this, I've seen it in my life, I've seen it in others. So I can't stress enough how beautiful and important and challenging that this philosophy really is. I hope that I created some openings for some reflection today for you and some revelations. Like I said before, I'm just here to deliver the message, and today that's my message for you and my challenge for you as well. And I would love to hear, I'm probably going to upload this to YouTube. I would like to hear I'd like to hear your feedback. So if I put this on YouTube, please like the video and please put in your comments maybe what you've realized, or maybe you've already applied it and you've created something, or maybe there's a part of this video you don't understand or don't agree with. That's fine. Post that question as well. I'll probably copy and paste this to Facebook, so if you want to do it in those comments as well, please do. And if you feel like somebody gets to hear this message, please share the video. One thing I know about energy is that all beautiful things that man has ever made come from love. And all of the horrific war machines and atrocity that we've committed upon one another have come from fear and anger and judgment, that spectrum. And when we operate from a space of love, we open doors that weren't there. We create things that we didn't think we could. Miracles come from love, come from the energy field, if you will, of love. So with the way that the world is going, and the world that our children are going to inherit, it's our civic duty to teach people how, or share the message rather, of how to manage our energy, our intentions, our actions, and observe what we're creating, and take note of what we're actually manifesting and putting out into this world, and leaving in this world, and leaving as our legacy. I used to think it was really complicated, and it's not. And it goes back to love is the answer. It really is. It's not just woo-woo or, hippie talk. There's a reason why, from the dawn of time, that poets and writers and philosophers and and generals and kings and presidents have all proclaimed, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Christ, Buddha, and countless others have proclaimed that love is the answer. So, sometimes it's like, well, what's the question? And the question is always brought about by fear. So, fear isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just brings up some questions, and love is always the answer. So again, I hope you enjoyed this. Please feel free to contact me. Let me know how this has served you. And I send all my love and all my light to you and the world. Compassion and power and strength and courage to not only get through your day, but through this week, through our lives, and to encourage and inspire and challenge you to share your love with others, even if it's just patience today. If it's hugs, then so be it. Then go out and share your love in the form of hugs. If it's joy, so be it. If it's compassion, so be it. If it's generosity, so be it. I get that sometimes it's like we're not in that space. So sometimes patience is as good as it gets. Well, luckily it's a virtue. Love and light to you all. Check us out on teachpeacetour.com. I'm going to upload this to the Teach Peace YouTube and our Facebook page. And I hope that I delivered my message, and I'm excited to see in the spirit of that what you do with it. Namaste.